This video is going to be some agility drills. Um, Upright agility, because nothing with really getting on the ground for this one. Also unarmed, because with the obstacles thing, as far as like going around obstacles, you're going to treat a lot of different obstacles in the same way when staying upright. So I'm using this space not because it's actually that great of a place to practice. In fact, the ground here, it looks really nice, but these are actually tripping hazards. Every little section here that has the gravel in it. So this is not ideal for actually practicing unless you're pretty skilled and you feel really good with your ankles. But for demonstration purposes, since you can see the other side of the wall or pillar, or it could be who knows, whatever we're going to pretend these obstacles are. That's why I chose this spot. So, in the nature of training safely, let's make sure that you always check your surfaces, your space, you're familiar with it. I kind of went through that for you for my space here. Also, definitely, this is a very slick surface. Both, well, actually, no, these shoes are surprisingly grippy on that. Yeah, that's okay. But yeah, just make sure you know your area, and then, of course, warm up. So when talking about especially thresholds and doorways and going around, thinking about being quick versus like having to defend, because again, this is all unarmed. If you're wielding a projectile weapon of some kind, things change significantly. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about just like, I'm running through a space to get somewhere quickly or to escape somewhere quickly. One thing to know as well is if you're, this stuff just works. I've loved seeing the sport called World Chase Tag become really popular, because a lot of these techniques, you see them in World Chase Tag. You see a lot of really specialized stuff too, like penguin sliding and all kinds of really fun stuff. But what you're going to see here, if you want to see the real, not attack epitome of this, like not really like defense, for like true like mortal danger, but if you want to see this at high speed, real time, look up World Chase Tag tournaments, because I've been really happy to see a lot of this stuff in there. But yeah, so as far as warm up, lower body, try to get your joints ready. So anything, ankles, toes, feet. I've done already a lot of movement to warm up, but just be aware. The other thing too is this practice doesn't have to be fast. This practice can be like literally walking speed the entire time you do the practice. So it's not even about necessarily like you gotta warm up and then eventually like every single session get through here, go as fast as you can. You can literally practice this and utilize this walking everywhere all the time. So I'm going to warm up actually with the basic techniques. So let's talk about just the basic idea of cutting around obstacles. Now again, unless I'm using a projectile or I need to really prioritize seeing from a faraway distance, if I'm prioritizing getting through there quickly, I still need to see, but getting through there quickly, first of all, I don't want to have a lot of distance. Again, my nice clear wall. So this is a silly thing, right? If I know I'm going to go over there, I'm not going to come through and do like that, right? That's silly. I'm going to stay close. And we're also talking about footwork, which we'll get there, and prioritize reducing my steps. So let's take a look at that again. And checking my framing. It's very sunny. I'm trying to stay in the light, so it's better for y'all to see, but it's very hard for me to see myself. Okay, so the basic idea then is I know I'm going to stay close to my pivot point, so that I don't waste energy, use extra steps, and also so I have a potential for more control. Right now I'm using a very hard obstacle, but this could also be something soft like a bush, which I couldn't vault or climb in the first place, or maybe a person, like a kid, and you have to suddenly, whoa, kid, like dodge around them or what have you. So just keep that in mind as well. And so I want to stay close to it, and I'm going to choose a planting foot. I'm very partial myself to using my outside leg or my further leg to plant. So if I was approaching, down the hallway in this regular day, down the hallway, I'm going to use my outside foot to plant. You see, we'll talk about eyes in a little bit, in sight. I'm already looking, and then I can just slide into that space and move on. Now, does that save me that much? No, not really. Like if I needed to be further out, or if there was like something here, I could do the same footwork and lean out and kind of Cossack here, and then drag this around close and tight if there's something here, or you stay wide, for whatever reason. Again, this is a practice where I'm not trying to tie the footwork or the obstacles or anything into like actual scenarios. I'm talking like these are drills, right? This is how to become familiar with linking everything together so that thresholds become just nothing, and you can use them everywhere you go. / obstacles. I keep saying thresholds. That's just because I'm talking about like passing through a space a lot of times. But even if it's a single thing, like say this was just a tree, that to me is the same thing. Because I'm gonna pass around it and use it the same way. So again, on planting footwork, I like to choose my outside. And that goes for if I'm going forward too. If I'm going forward, I can still keep this one here or even just before. This is really important sometimes if I have a door with a handle, is I won't commit my foot through the doorway yet. I'm going to pause here, maybe open that door if I need space to do that, take that peek, and then move through. By the way, these are all no touch. We're going to get to light touch and then hard touch as far as redirecting and starting to use this stuff to help stop us, or propel us, or help redirect us. You also can, of course, use the inside foot. I keep talking about outside foot, but it works just as well to plant the near foot as far as in relation to the obstacle, and then step the other foot around. I find for me, this is part of why I don't prefer it, is sometimes I get really wild with that outside foot, and I'll tend to like swing it and be a little out of control. But sometimes you just need to. Like perhaps there's just the right the right obstacles. Like say, who knows what's here, but because when I'm here, I'm coming through here, doing kind of a hurdle step or something like that. Because again, these are drills, and it's not about this perfect mimicking what's happening here. It's about how do I pass through and pass around stuff when I need to without having to slow down and think about it. Yada yada. Let's do a water break, see if anyone's actually watching. Because we're live. Hello, 2 people. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna do some more drills. Okay. Oh, what the? So I'll just start basically, and this is nice too because you can do both sides with a threshold or a pillar. In fact, I guess you can see both sides of this. This is a perfect little thing because I can go and work my this way and back her up, go here and work my this way. I can just kind of drill myself around these things. Now let's talk about the eyes and the head, because I'm exaggerating it now, but then that's just to see. Is I want to proceed with my eyeballs. My eyes go, my head goes, my body follows. And of course, when we're talking about working at speed or needing to be hasty or urgent, I need to see stuff, obviously. It's really warm today. So I'm then going to practice once I get this idea of feet. I mean, you could do, I think feet should come first. It makes more sense, just so you know what you're trying to get. And sometimes you need to look, especially because I chose this janky patterned ground, so that we could have these walls for demonstration. But once I have that idea, I'm now going to practice, first of all, being very intent on how far I'm committing past my obstacle or through my threshold, right? It's very different to post just before it and then work that look right? There's not I'm leaning and I got some stuff going on, versus posting through it as I'm looking, or depending on the approach. But I want to be really, really obvious, and yeah, just slow and simple when you start working on this. So I'm gonna actually step, and I know I'm going here. So even you see that even before I'm like I'm stepping there. As soon as I commit to my step, I'm looking here. Now for now, my wall is clear, but this is just for the demonstration. I'm pretending this is a wall I can't see through. So I'm actually pre-looking into that corner or into the hallway or wherever it is I intend to go on the other end side of this obstacle. For now, let's pretend it's a wall. So even as I approach it, as soon as like, yep, I'm going there, I'm looking here, so I'm ready for what's there, and then I can do the next thing. And you could choose whatever direction. Again, this is all unarmed. We're not thinking about taking threats or any stuff like that. But this could definitely come in handy if you're in a hurry and you just need to be swift and make sure you're on point and not running into stuff, or messing up your feet and ankles. So that could be the same thing. If I'm coming through here, maybe I'm actually going this way. Well, then of course I'm not going to post with my outside foot. This is for this is for the opposite side. If I'm going this way, well, I'm going to step in here with my closed foot. I could look there and then move through here. So I'm not trying to be attached to the idea like posting foot, cutting foot. Like it's once you do the practice, once you start to think, oh, am I actually seeing through as far as I can, or presupposing what I'm going to see as I'm going through, and then you'll find that it takes 2 steps, 3 maximum to get through or around any structure, or most any structure, unless it's obviously very massive. Okay, so outside, looking. There's also the peripheral vision too. Don't forget. Say we'll go this way. I could even be looking this way for some reason, and then choose to go this way. If I'm choosing that inside foot, maybe I'm looking here. I don't like what I see, and now I'm using my previous practice, which is, if you've been around for a bit, you've seen the Cossack squat video, which partly was filmed at actually this location. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should probably go take a look at that video. But yeah, in the same way, these things start to link together, and now I have suddenly more options. I, from any point of contact, can choose to move anywhere. In fact, here's another drill. Seems very simple. Oh, standing on one foot, and then in balance, in complete control, and then choose, like on the clock. 11 o'clock. Okay, back. 9, 3. Hit a switch. Now I can switch next to, do the shuffle, or I could do the cross. Most people won't tell you to cross your feet ever for the tripping hazard, and for the most part, I think that's probably true. I do find myself doing it though. If I'm being very honest, I absolutely will use that. I use that in the club, like in clubs or in tightly packed environments where there's a lot of bodies, where this doesn't work really well, or it's just like abrasive and it sucks. But you don't want to always do here. Like sometimes I want to change directions, but in fact, that sort of work, or that sort of even just being in a crowd of people, really reinforces this sort of footwork stuff for me personally, because I do use it. So say that I'm packed in bodies and I'm here. Well, perhaps it doesn't make sense to do another scooch. I'm actually trying to go here, so I'll cross step. Hopefully, I think that's still on the footage, and then proceed onward that way. So again, we don't want to be attached to the actual. That's why they don't have names or anything. I'm gonna try and see if I can get a little more ground in the frame. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully the sound is good too. I'm just assuming it was like last time, and the AirPods are doing their diligence. Otherwise, I'd be yelling. Okay. So once warm or ready for more dynamic ideas, then that can just happen very quickly. So it can be, say I'm starting, like here. Again, imagining I can't see this through this wall, but I know for a fact, whatever I need, my AED, my backpack, my best friend, whatever I need is right there. Okay, I know that, but so as I come through, I start to work fast. I start to think post here and there. Now you can do it slow and count the steps to see how many are viable. So I don't want to be off balance or really stretched out or in goofball mode, but I do want to reduce. So let's just do a walkthrough and see. I start with my right foot just cause. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's pretty good. 5 steps. I mean, it took me 6 just to meander back. I think at speed it's probably a bit less because I do tend to capitalize on that airtime. In fact, there's another drill. Take this one very carefully too, especially the lateral movement. I think a lot of folks will neglect being able to build up mobility and resilience in the lateral directions. So, stuff like this is not normal for most folks to bust out. And the reason I can get there, in fact, let's just do that drill too after this one. It's because of working on it, but just working on jumping sideways and controlling yourself is actually super challenging on this stuff. And you just work it that way so that when you get there at speed, you're not in danger of being unprepared in your actual tissues. You can also happen slowly. That's actually what we're doing with all of this Cossack squatting or shinobi shifting. Again, if you've been around or you've seen that other video. The other drill I was talking about for resiliency of the lateral positions and also just positions you don't want to be in, because the fact of the matter is, if I'm going fast, especially if it is urgent and I'm not quite familiar with the area, it's very likely that I'll slip or mess up or who knows what. So I want to be prepared, even though I have ideal positions. I want to be prepared for if I don't find myself in those ideal positions, which is a total possibility. So the other drills to help, other than just those lateral hops or shifts, and again, try to stay low with those. Notice I'm not doing this number, which still is pretty good for the knee strength in the quads, but it's completely different. In fact, it's actually the opposite of what we're trying to strengthen here. Like that. The other one is just the squats with pivoting out. So we'll see how I can do today with my current accoutrement and ability. So you can start either way, but I like to start with my feet together, heels flat. And I'm going to then bend down as far as I can, keep my heels flat. And I think that's about as far as I can do there. I then turn my toes or heels, doesn't matter, out and do it again. Notice I'm also working not just to see the screen of my phone, but I'm also working to keep upright for just the posture when I do this versus losing my posture. Okay. And then the heels, same thing. Now this is where it gets silly and starts to get wonky, and I can feel that. So as I start to cave in, what I'm doing as well, so I'm not just bending, letting it happen. I am rotating at my feet, and I'm trying to turn my toes even more outward, but I'm letting the ground win. Okay, so I'm creating this torque, which locks my tendons in, gives me that strength I'm looking for, and will over time result in more mobility. So let's see, how are we? We did here, we did here, we're here now. So as I bend down, I'm torquing out. Oh, that feels good, and you'll feel it. So be gentle with yourself. That's about good for me here. Toes get to pivot again. Same deal. You could add more if you want to weigh this or put a band somewhere and resist. Who knows? You could band yourself from 4 points and just that would be pretty silly. All right, heels out. Put my torque in just like you would before you set up for a deadlift or some such. Okay, see how far I can go down. And I'm letting it be not ideal. You notice that was not a good squatting position necessarily. That's okay. Now, when I personally get to this point, I like to use my elbows and kind of push my hips out and get some nice deep hip time. I don't think you can hear this, but these sound just like this gravel. My knees, they just creaking and cracking. But it doesn't feel bad. There's no pain. And that's good enough for me. Your mileage may vary. Okay, back to agility. Again, that's still agility, right? Where that's more like mobility and strengthening. But all of that does prepare me for this stuff. Like, don't be fooled by the non-activity or the non-action of that stuff. Okay, so we've done a lot of not touching this thing. I started with placing the feet, outer foot step, inner step, near step to use to change directions. We even talked a little bit about how it sometimes can be viable if slow. And that's really where it is. It's like with the CrossFit type footwork, generally it has to be like, so you're doing slow footwork. You're doing, very, either almost creeping sometimes is where that works really, really well. So let's talk about now how we start to interact with this with the rest of our body and why we might do that as well. Well, let's see if there's any commentary from the live types. For some reason I can't see anything. I'm assuming there might be something, but that's okay. So this one so these I do have names for, just again for teaching, just makes it easier to talk about. But that is the first one is soft touch, and we're thinking about as a brush. It's basically like a whiskering notion of I'm going to touch the thing that I'm moving around, not to use it another way other than just like to see where it is, to get some spatial awareness of it. Now this comes in super handy when my eyesight has to be somewhere that I'm not necessarily in the direction I'm going to. So say, in fact, I can do it now. I can still see with peripheral training and all that stuff. I see my phone. I might be looking here, but with a soft touch, I can feel, okay, I'm exactly here. And I can still cut there. In fact, I did an extra one where it started with forearm, kind of slid to my arm. See, I got my inside or near foot step. I'm sliding to my arm. Heck, I could do this super lazily. And literally lean on it and slide here. And maybe that's all the space I have. Again, just think a crowded building or a concert. Right? Where you're like, oh, I need to get around this thing. Where I could, but my friends were like, hey, yeah, we're gonna go over here. Come on, follow me, that can be very handy. So the soft touch is super useful, and it can be useful at speed as well. So that's a very slow way, but I can also use it again just to make sure, or just to recheck, or just to tell the rest of my body that yes, we're on track. So again, let's say, or even again to utilize, like I'm gonna maybe point this corner and show how I can look into that corner, but still navigate this one without jamming myself up because of the soft touch. Okay, or soft contact if you prefer contact over touch. I'll come around here. I'm looking that way. Oh, that was nice. Okay, so I still only did 2 steps. Well, once I got 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it was here, contact here. Again, I get more out of it when I'm going fast. So let's do it a little quicker again. I'm trying to. I kind of naturally started to look this way, even though I can see through the wall. So let's try again. I'm trying to stare. Again, this is the type of drill I might do. In fact, obviously I am doing it. But also, what you can do for yourself is I'm choosing points of interest, And in this particular drill, they're different. So there's one A and B for my body. A is there, and B is pretty much out of frame after navigating this corner. And the points of interest for my eyes, A and B are the same one. I'm trying to stick to a pillar that's across the way. So just another way to think about it for anyone who's coaching or likes to break down how to build drills or how to apply it, because I could just reapply that somewhere, right? I could say, well, now my body, A and B is there, but my eyesight, A and B is there and then there. So okay, let's do it. I should have brought my shot timer. Those still really help for this kind of drill. Just imagine I do the beep, say beep. Okay. Nice. Yeah, not terrible. Not terrible. I mean, I got through without hurting myself. This stuff doesn't, with my nice soft footwear, this is very sensational. Okay, so that's some soft touch. And again, that works really great for when you don't need to accelerate or decelerate, or accelerate negatively, for being honest. And then, or if the thing is not something you can actually put force into, like a one of those upright signs, you know, that you don't, maybe you just don't want to be a hassle and don't want to push that thing over, but you can get around it. Okay, so the last one, for now at least, and again, being mindful of the eye work or the sight work as we're talking about the footwork and the hand work, or the rest of the body work, because just because I'm going to demonstrate some of this with the hands, this also goes for, you know, you could hook the elbow, push off things. Those of you who are fans of body hardening, another fun way to get your body hardening in. Sometimes I'll end up with this one. Not for this circumstance, for climbing for sure. A lot of times when I'm descending bars or some such, I'll do kind of a midway hook and then kind of come down that way. So when will I use a hard touch or hard contact? That's when I need to use this thing to just assist me in a direction or to change my direction. It's the same thing as in parkour, we have something called a pop or a tic-tac, and you're going to push off a surface, again, to change or assist your direction. So do the same thing. In fact, a lot of times I'll call this a hand tack. When I do it, let's see if I can actually do it in this weird place. I'll do it kind of dynamically just to cover little gaps in the sidewalk, like that. So, you know, did it change the world as far as my distance? No. Did it get me more? Absolutely it did. I know this because I've tested it and I can feel a difference, but your mileage may vary. This is why your practice is your practice, and you have to practice. Otherwise, you have no idea if this stuff works. Oh, water. Okay. So hand tags or redirects or whatever. My basic one is going to be just 2 hands or 1 hand. I like 2 because if you start with 2, then both of them get used to the idea, and eventually you use either. And the same idea, even though we're in this plane where our hands are going onto a vertical structure, the concepts are the same as rowing, or if you start getting into the horizontal plane, the dyno or the dynamic pulling. So it is worthwhile to practice this 2 and each separately. And by the way, here's another drill. Drills. You know, if you have 30 seconds before you get on your train, got a little wall, little 90 degrees even. Okay, stand there and just get a couple in. Get a couple. Okay, just a suggestion. So I can be as aggressive or not aggressive as I want. Using my same example of starting here and having my thing that I must get to, that I'm sure this time at least is there, but faster, as fast as possible, / I'm going really fast. This is also a good way to regain control, right? Because if I've already lost control, I want to get onto this just to get it back, or if something unexpected happened, like a slippery surface or a malfunction of my footwear or something. So, hanging out, got timer, beep, here. Oh, feels good. Okay, so that one was fun because even though I was just saying, okay, we're going for both hands, I actually defaulted to something like this, because I continued with a soft touch. I could maybe go back and look at that and see if that's really true, but I think that's what I feel. This is part of training, is because especially if you're not filming yourself, folks, if you train, I don't care what it is, if you practice, I don't care what it is, if you have the means, film yourself and look at it. I don't care how cringy it feels, it's going to help you understand what you're up to and see, like, oh, that was awesome. Film yourself, okay? So I'm going to go back and look, but if you're not doing that, I have to rely on the echoes of what I felt, especially when I'm going really fast, because my brain kind of turns off. That's the idea of this kind of practice, is I don't want to have to think about it. That's why I do it slow and over and, getting my dances on, is because when I have to go, I don't want to have to think about it. So that time I noticed, I went grabby, and as I came around, I did a follow through pull, like so, and then a little draggy on the fence. So let's just do again. Hard redirects and or contact, whatever you want to call it. There's probably so many names for this. Like, I have no idea who else will work on this, other than, I don't know what the world chase taggers even call this, if they have a name for it, because they have to do this, since they're if you haven't seen world chase tag, there's a chaser, right, and a chasee, and the stage is the same, so you actually can train exactly for your space, so you know where the platforms are, it's some scaffolding, and just like ply, maybe it's poly, I don't actually know what the platform's made of, but it's predictable as far as the space, but the human part is not predictable. But and you learn, like, if I'm trying to psych you out, I'm going this way, but instead I make like I'm going this way and I pull myself in the back. Chase taggers, watch my stuff. You'll get some hot tips. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. I've never played that game actually, but I admire the use of agility. Okay. So yeah, let's do it again. Yeah. Okay. Actually, nope. That time I said screw it, and I just maybe you all saw that. I just grabbed here. Left was like, we're good. Stay close. So left was like, stay close. Right was here. And that could be very detrimental. Like, if I was going way faster, like if I had more than a step start, I don't think I would go for that. Or I hope I wouldn't go for that, we'll say. Maybe I would. Maybe if I did this too much, I would make scars or what have you. Because that at more speed, it would take a lot more speed. Because this is pretty forgiving stuff. But that could look like a jam or some nastiness. That could be asking for myself to be trapped. So again, it's a practice, it's a science. Like, what works, what doesn't work, what am I trying to practice versus what happens when I then put some sort of like stress or speed on myself. Okay. So those are actually the three main ones, is just navigating without touching the structure, working on dissociating your points of interest, that being the movement of the self from A to B or A to B to C or whatever, versus the sight line from its own path, right? I can choose, let's just do a basic walking one where my body path will be A here and B is just over here, but my sight line is going to be the camera right there. Now I can choose all kinds of stuff. One nice thing about this drill is I can choose easy, where I'm just in front of this benchy thing here, and I can choose whatever footwork or just kind of work it here, or I can choose something slightly more challenging and set myself up knowing there's something to overcome here, which allows me to practice more redirection. So I'm going to do that for you now. In fact, yeah, we'll go from the center ones. In fact, I can already see this. I'm going to go for it. Nice. All right. And that's the kind of important stuff to do very slowly as well. I'll do it one more time. For the gram. JK, we're on YouTube. Okay. So again, I'm trying to my eye focus or my sight line focus is the camera, and I'm going to work as laterally as I can, utilizing my actual peripheral vision, but also really trying to get those pinpointed. I'm trying to actually watch my body in the camera while I do that, which is a powerful drill in my opinion, for details, for visual acuity. And that doesn't have to be like, going over something. It could be anything. Maybe you're set up foam rollers, or who knows what you have, cones, or draw with chalk on the ground and see how far it takes you, or what it takes to stare at something very directly and move around those things. Acuity. Okay. I think that's it. Again, I can't go into all the things or all the drills. I think I'm already at 35 or 37. It's a pretty good run. Recap of the recap. Practice going around things. Work to get your sight lines first, right? Where the eyes go, the head goes, you prepare, the body goes. Because I want to see. I always want to, if you can, again, if it's something that you're able to do, if you have that ability, then we want you to get it as quickly as possible. Especially when we're at speed, or even just cause, this could be, and for me, it's all the time. Because why not? There's no reason to trudge through corridors. I can see what's happening. Choose. Who knows where I'm gonna go? Who knows where I'm gonna go? And you're gonna find those of you who like to or have to be in crowded spaces. You'll find that you'll be able to navigate them even better if you're. And that's another thing too, is I use that redirection and the visual acuity to redirect other people's focus for the security professionals. If there's anyone who are working in security who also watch this, I use that a lot to try and, sometimes try, but also very effectively make some people think I'm not paying attention to them when it's them I'm really watching. So actually the example could be this pillar is my subject of interest as I'm creeping around and making sure things are good to go. So it's a person doing something, or I'm just curious. I just want to see them, but I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. I don't want to be, unless there's something that I want to address. I'm not gonna be like, "What you got in your hands?" That's not the way. So the way, at least the way that I do, is especially if they seem fairly savvy, because especially the people I want to notice are the people who notice me. That's as a security or bouncer or anything. If you're noticing me a lot, I definitely want to pay attention to you. So say this is that kind of like aware person, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not paying attention to you. I'm looking over here. I'm over here, but actually I'm seeing what's happening here. Like I'm seeing movement at least, and then I can move my head. Oh, now I'm looking over here, but I'm moving this way. And they're, who knows what they're looking at. And then at another point, I can take a look or take a peek, or who knows. Now, this might seem like a little paranoid, or why would you go to such lengths to just take a peek? Because I also don't want to be a jerk and be like, hey, what do you got there? If you're someone just putting a mint in their mouth, or like, wrapping their gum in their wrapper because they're actually polite and they put it in their pocket to throw it away later. Like, raise your hand if you do that. Anyway, that's it. A little bit of upright agility considerations when unarmed and unthreatened necessarily, or maybe threatened, but like not needing to to do other stuff through thresholds. If you have been here live, thank you so much. I actually really appreciate that, just because I do. Thanks for checking out my stuff. It's a movement, and please try something, even again if it's just a couple moves, or play with your the doorway in your kitchen. How quickly can you see your refrigerator from whatever point, start to, who knows. If you have people who play or who want to train with you, you can always like use a sticky note or just anything. But like this pink sticky note is what you need to look for as soon as possible, right? You just have someone move it around the space for you. There's so many ways to work on awareness, because actually, especially that, like everyone touts situational awareness, be aware situationally, but it's really about fluency. It's about having observations and collecting information and then interpreting that information and doing stuff with it. Yeah. So all of that said, I'm not usually one for being extra brand pushy, but there are some things that really help me in my life, and I'm going to give them a shout out now, because I've been wearing this Delta 2 Alpha hat this whole time. You can see, I'm sweating through it. Oh yeah, yum. Also got some bump cap in there. Ergodyne, give me a little bit of extra just cause. And then Filster, of course, Philly holster. I'm not gonna show you, but if you know, you know. Enigma life has been happening this whole time. Okay, this whole time. That's right. Okay, that might have been weird for some of you, but for some of you, if you know, you know. Oh, and jerry can. Jerry bottle. They have some backpacks. This is a fun water bottle. I actually found like it helps me hydrate, because even though I need water and I move my body a lot, sometimes I just get out of the habit of drinking water. But I find if I have vessels that feel correct and that fit well into places, I find that I'm much better at carrying things. In fact, it turns out that's like everything, right? Any kind of tool or equipment, turns out if it's a bit easier to carry and use, people are going to want to carry and use it more often. All right, y'all. I'm going to peace out. Please be safe out here, out there, and practice your stuff, whatever that stuff is. And we'll do this again sometime, huh?